call the regular meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education of January 14th, 2026 to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, item 2, adoption of the agenda. I'd like to entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Mr. Showers, second. Mr. Foote? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And then we have several minutes to approve. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education workshop from December 8th, 2025.
So moved.
Mr. Showers, Mr. Foote, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the Plymouth Board of Education Ad Hoc Policy Committee meeting from December 10th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Ms. Tilton and Ms. Palmer. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education from December 10th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Okay, Mr. Showers, Mr. Perugino, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Next page. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education's Finance and Operations Committee from January 7th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bourbonnaire and Mr. Perugino. Any discussion?
Can we just put in there that we decided to have the meetings the second Monday of every month at 6 p.m.?
Okay. They want to have it have the meetings, the minutes reflect that they have chosen the second Monday of each month
At 6 p.m.
at 6 p.m.
It also says Mrs. Bourbonnaire in that.
No, that's all right. She was there too.
All right. We finished that one, right? No, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. And entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education retreat from January 7th, 2026.
So moved.
Mr. Bourbonnaire, Mr. Showers, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, last one, motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education's Curriculum and Instruction Committee from January 8th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Tilton, Mr. Foote. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, Ooh, that was a lot. We are up to the best part now, student representatives. Tiana and Fallon.
The winter concert on December 16th was an entertaining and well-received performance. The chorus performed popular pieces such as How Far I'll Go and Carol of the Bells, while the band impressed the audience with a mashup of songs from Mulan. Later in the month, the school came together again for a school-wide concert held on December 22nd, featuring performance by the Terryville Band and Chorus. A special highlight of the event was the participation of the staff band, which added to the excitement and sense of community. Both concerts were enjoyed by students and staff alike and served as a meaningful way for the school community to come together and celebrate before winter break.
Midterms start tomorrow and will run for 4 school days. Each day, students will take 2 midterms. Students voiced that they were feeling a little unprepared this year, and some members of student council wanted an opportunity to start preparing for exams earlier. Tiana and I proposed a solution to Mrs. Hurd on what to change for next year. We suggested that students receive a packet of optional practice problems or a list of topics that will be covered throughout the semester for each class to allow any of those who want to put in the extra work to have the opportunity to do so.
January has been an exciting month for winter athletics. The boys basketball team earned a major rivalry win against Thomaston on January 9th, defeating them 68-54. The girls basketball program celebrated an important milestone with their first varsity win of the season, securing a 34-24 victory under the guidance of varsity coach Mrs. Wexler. The team is also adjusting well to the new leadership at a JV level under Mrs. Hamilton. Indoor track kicked off its season today with their first meet under new head coach Mrs. Gaston, marking an exciting new chapter for the program. Wrestling continues to perform strongly this season and competes today against Derby and St. Paul as they look to build on their success.
First semester, each junior takes a course called Career Exploration Capstone, or CEC. Throughout the semester, students have the opportunity to explore careers they might be interested in, as well as meet professionals that are already established in those fields. Students also learn vital skills like how to create a resume and write a cover letter, as well as participate in mock interviews. As a culmination of their learning, students create a trifold presentation that they present at their symposium. Symposiums took place yesterday and today, where students got to show friends and teachers everything they learned.
The 7th Chili Cook-Off is happening on February 5th, and it's heating up. It started in 2018. This fan favorite raises funds for students heading up on the Europe trip. Think your chili has what it takes? Entry to compete is $25, and if you'd rather just enjoy the food, you can sample all the delicious chili for just $5. Come for the competition, stay for the great food, and support a great cause.
Last meeting, we voiced our desire for the return of the school deli. The students are incredibly happy to see it offered again here at THS.
Our weight room is used and loved by many, but unfortunately, with years of use, it's fallen into disrepair. Students from every friend group and grade utilize the weight room for gym classes, and we even have a specialized gym class called Training and Fitness that exclusively uses the space. Outside of the school day, sports teams use the weight rooms when it's raining, and indoor track relies on it almost entirely for their training. Students aren't the only ones who appreciate the equipment. Many staff members use the weight room after school. Most of the weightlifting machines are in still good shape, but the electronically run machines are where we are seeing the most issues.
And that's all.
Oh, thank you very much.
Is there anything we can help?
Just treadmills.
Treadmills, ellipticals, Stairmasters, all the cardio ones we
cardio
heard,
ones,
but
yeah.
all the weight ones work just fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody else have questions for our student reps? Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank
You
you
know the
so
drill.
much.
If you have other things to do that are more pressing, you may leave.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
guys. Take it easy. See you next month.
You too.
All right, that brings us to item number 5, public comment. As always, if you have public comment that you would like to share with us at the podium, please sign in. We will respectfully limit you to 2 minutes, and we will not answer any questions at the time, but someone from our administrative team will get back to you to clarify anything or to answer any questions if you have them. So, that being said, please join us for public comment. Seeing no in-person public comment at this time, do we have any online public comment?
We do not.
Okay, all right, maybe later, maybe later. You know that I love that part. All right, item number 6, Superintendent's recommended 2026-27 budget presentation. Not my favorite part.
All right. Yeah. Bang, bang.
Good evening, everyone. So this evening, I'm presenting the 26-27 calendar year recommended budget. It's not so much my recommended budget, it is the recommended budget from our administrative team. And I'll be doing the presentation this evening in its entirety, but I have Matt and Beth will be helping me out as if needed, if I forget things throughout the presentation. So as we do every year, oh, and you'll all be receiving a budget binder after my presentation. Like the kids, if I give it to you now, you'll be looking through it all. So you'll get that after the presentation, so we can kind of go through it. In addition, I'll talk to you about what's in that binder. And additionally, for the public, this presentation and everything will be posted online on our website tomorrow.
So everything will be there for everyone to see after the presentation. So as we do every year, we start with our budget development schedule. As you see through the schedule, we start fairly early. We start in October. We're planning for the following school year, starting in October. So we give the administrative team everything they need. Matt does a ton of work with regard to contractual obligations, looking at teacher increases, looking at para increases, and all of the contractual agreements that we have across the board. We have 4 union contracts, but we have a ton of other agreements that need to be incorporated into this budget. He looks at utilities, so on and so forth. And then right before, I would say, the winter break, Matt and I sit, we come together on all the different pieces we both have, and we make sure that that budget is tight and ready to go. So when we come back after the holidays, we meet with our administrative team, and this is our recommended budget. So as we go through the budget, you'll see I kind of go section by section with these gray kind of slides. There's color in the presentation, but being colorblind, this helps me out a little bit. So the first thing we have are our board budget goal alignments. These are our 4 goals. These 4 goals ground our work. These 4 goals are what our strategic plan was built off of. These 4 goals are what our budget is built off of. And remember, as a Board of Ed, we are working to try to adopt and create a 5-year strategic plan for our district. Right now, it's in draft form. Tonight, you'll be getting a copy of the adjustments that we've made to that strategic plan in draft form, but it's still draft form until the board adopts it. But what I did is I pulled pieces out of that strategic plan from the draft that we worked on, and I put the pieces under student achievement, engagement, and well-being that aligned to the budget. And then you'll see under fiscal oversight and budget, all those pieces are there. So according to the Board of Education, with regard to the goals and direction we're going in as a district, these are the pieces that, according to our plan, should be incorporated into our budget. So we're going to start with enrollment and who works here. So here's our fall data enrollment, and it's wrong. I sent this out to the company, filled everything out. Something's not right somewhere, because this doesn't align to what we've gotten in previous years and the previous years and the previous years. Usually it aligns pretty nicely. But if you look at the yellow arrow on the top right, and then you look at our current enrollment's about 50 students higher than what they're saying it is in this year. And that number should be almost identical in both of those reports, and they're not. And then our end, after 10 years, it says we have like 1,314 students for our projected enrollment. In years past, at the spring of last year, actually, it was much higher. So something's not right. But why I kept this in here is, even if our projected enrollment is incorrect, we still don't have a declining enrollment. So that narrative that might be out there from years past is no longer accurate and true. Our enrollment is not going down, it is going up.
It doesn't include the housing projects.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. This, because of when I had to fill this information out, I did not put all of the new subdivisions and housing projects going in because they weren't technically approved by the town at that point. The only ones that went in here were Prospect Street School, because that was already approved and being worked on. And there was another small subdivision, I believe, that was being worked on. I don't know if it
High
was.
Street.
I believe that was it. But the larger subdivisions were not incorporated into this because they were not approved at that time. And I'll probably do another enrollment projection in the spring. I actually might reach out to them again because.
And that's definitely going to affect our enrollment.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So it does not include the one on Scott
No.
Road?
It was not approved at the time when I filled out this information, so it's not in there.
And you just got approved for Town Hill for nine lots up there.
So
Town Hill, I think.
we called Clarence.
Pardon me?
We called Clarence at the town offices, and he's the one that gave us which ones
Okay.
were approved and weren't at the time we did this. So it was pretty thorough, but the numbers are a little off.
Well, I know in my neighborhood, and you should know this too, Pat, they're putting in 7 houses in that neighborhood too, which is off of Laurel and Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 7 new houses going up there.
And they're
And they're
big.
not, they're big and they're not inexpensive.
500 to 600,000. I'm gonna dump my house and get out of there.
So the next thing I'm going to show you are the schools, and it's broken up by schools, and it's staffing, students projected in each grade level. How we project them is we looked at the number of first graders we currently have, and we pushed those over to second grade. We have 82 as of January 5th. We had 82 first graders, so we put those and moved them up to second grade. And with that, we determine how many teachers are in each grade. So the top level is teachers, then you go to number of students, average class size. I also incorporated our certified support staff to show you their caseloads, so you can see the number of students our staff is working with. You'll see our school psychologist at Plymouth Center School has 24 students on her caseload. So, when we're looking at this, what I want you to do and why this is here, is I want you to look and say, okay, can we go without any of these positions that are on these charts based on the numbers we have? So you have certified sports staff, you have the unified arts that we offer in the school, the non-certified staff, and then the building and administrative offices. We have the same thing for Fisher Elementary School. You have the number of teachers, projected number of students, again, being pushed up from the previous year, and then the average class sizes. You also have certified staff caseloads and the number of people we have there, unified arts, non-certified staff, and the main office. At Eli Terry, it starts to change a little bit because it's not as easy to predict how many kids are going to be in a class based on scheduling and scheduling conflicts and who wants chorus and who wants band and some of the choices the kids get. As you see, the elective teachers have grown at that school compared to what we have in the elementary schools. But you see the average class sizes are around 21 to 24 in a class. You see the number of kids in each grade and grade level, and then you also see our caseloads across our different departments for certified staff. High school is very similar, where you can't really have an approximate class size because of the way you schedule. There is more of a range even at the high school based on caps on classes for safety reasons, such as culinary has a cap on a class, tech ed has a cap on a class, so on and so forth. But you see the approximate class sizes, you see the caseloads, you see the elective teachers. Again, that number grows as you go into high school. Then you have the non-certified and the main office staff. And it says, this is a little tricky, you see we have 2.5 secretaries. So we have 2 in the main office, we have 1 in guidance. And when you look at school counselors, you'll see 3. You have 2 in the guidance office, and you have our career counselor at our career center. Technically, she's a school counselor. When you look at district-wide staffing, this is everyone else. These are basically the 12-month employees for the most part on there, with the exception of the district certified support staff. Those are our 12-month employees that are working all year around to keep the district up and running at central office and across the district. So you see our numbers there as well. Some things I want to point out is the human resource 0.5 position and the administrative assistant under curriculum instruction at 0.5. That's the same person, but we kind of have split responsibilities there. I am in charge of HR for the district, so that person supports me in a part-time capacity. Pat is obviously my full-time support with regard to administrative assistant. But I'm also technically the curriculum director. So under that, she supports me with the curriculum work and orders that need to be done as well. But that's kind of where we are right now. So that's our staffing. And so again, I wanted you, when you get your binder, I want you to really look and see, is there any staffing that you feel might not be necessary in working with our kids? And I find it hard pressed to find anyone within that. I mean, we are using every resource and everyone is basically maxed out in what they're doing for our kids. But now I want to show you how our budget is spent. So we broke this up into required costs and remaining funds. So you have Plymouth Center School, and I want you to see that their budget is $1.8 million and change. And then we have required costs to run the school. Based on the staffing we showed you, and everything that's within the contracts, copier contract, utilities, OSHA, pest control, we have money set aside for emergency repairs, which isn't even close to enough for usually the emergency repairs that we would have in a school. We have some money set aside. Postage, that's what we need to run the school, and it's really not an option. Then you have the remaining funds. So when Mrs. Kalo does her budget, she's budgeting $20,822. That's all that when Matt gives her her budget to do, that's really all Matt's giving her to work with. Now, some of that money, if we decided to cut that discretionary money or those remaining funds, you still need supplies to run a school. So we can't cut all those supplies. And that's pre-K through 2 supplies, plus office supplies at $20,822. And when you go through, you'll see Fisher is even less because their budget is less because they don't have pre-K. You see the required cost to actually run and operate that building, and then you look at the remaining funds. So we're going to go through this for all of our schools. I'm just going to leave it up there for you to see. You see Eli, Terry, the numbers grow a little bit at the high school and middle school level. And you see the remaining funds. I mean, I put graduation expenses as remaining funds because if the board decided to cut the outdoor graduation and do an indoor graduation instead, it saves some money on rentals. Is it significant money? $50,000 in a $27 million or $29 million budget or whatever this might be is not significant overall money when we're talking. That's very little money Mike Holtz has to budget for his science, math, social studies, world language, English, all unified arts departments. Curriculum and instruction, special education, library services. And again, library services is a good example. I mean, they don't have a tremendous budget. And when I put in remaining funds, one of those remaining funds that we have, some flexibility on is library books, but we still need to order library books. Technology services, health services, facilities and maintenance. The departments on the left side are the categories within the budget. When you add those numbers together, you'll get these numbers that are right here. I just pulled out the differences with the remaining and the required funds. District-wide services and district management. So that's every single department in every single budgetary category that you're going to see in your budget book. But here's the bottom line. Required cost to run our district is 99.14% of our budget. The remaining funds that we budget is 0.86. So when you look at this budget, 90% of this, or 99.14% of this budget is Matt Tenza going into his office, looking at the contractual obligations, looking at how much we spent on electricity last year, how much is going up this year, what we could do for diesel, what our bus contract goes up. He's looking at all those pieces. We really don't control the money. And it's a misperception if people think we do, because those are our required costs. Again, I showed you and started off intentionally with our staffing and caseloads to show you our class sizes and how our staff is being utilized. The only way to cut the required costs are really to cut staffing. That's the only way to cut the required costs that we have here. So budget informational items that you need to know. Did I miss anything, Matt?
Not so far.
All right. Here are contractual increases. You have certified staff, non-certified staff, administration, benefits, transportation, outplacement, and tuitions and utilities. And you see how much everything went up and down. We have a 5.18% increase that we cannot control in this budget. I don't know if this light works or not. It does, but it doesn't work on the screen. I want you to look at the grand total difference. Rebecca, do you have a pen or that fancy thing? Could you just write that number down? It's 1,194,684. Those are contractual increases that we can't control. And we had this conversation. Actually with the mayor, and we talked about the different increases that are out there. And if you ever negotiated the contract, we've negotiated very fairly with our different contractual and unions. People could say, well, they can't expect that much. Well, an arbitrator might tell you differently. And if you look around at neighboring districts, they've tried to push that and they've lost. So these increases that we have contractually, especially with our union people, are very reasonable. They're working with us the best they can to come up with something that's fair. Here are some adjustments that myself and Matt made to the budget. The top one is probably the biggest risk, and I'm going to have Matt just discuss that top one real quick.
So in this year's budget, conversations that we had, if you think the board remembers, we've been talking about our health benefits for quite a while, and there's a significant jump this year. We've been quoted 22% on the bottom side. With our current plan, there's no way for us to sustain that. Like, we can't keep going. So I've had multiple conversations with our consultant, and what our ultimate option is to move from our current plan to an HSA, a high deductible health plan. That has to be negotiated with the bargaining units that we work with, and that's underway right now. But for the sake of this budget, we budgeted the anticipated savings because we really see no other way around it. Is one way or the other. The bottom line is if we don't make the change, the staffing that Brian's talking about has to change significantly, because the only way to get to those numbers is with folks, and we're trying to avoid that at all costs. So keep in mind as we go through the budget, you see we have an asterisk next to that health savings. That's because it's still at risk. It has to be negotiated. I'm confident we'll come to some kind of an agreement. But the risk still is there, and we want to make sure we point that out to you. The excess cost number that is there, so that you understand where that comes from, is a educated forecast based on this year's expenses. Beth and I are working together, who may or may not still be in that, with an expense growth factor, if you will. And I'll tell you, is I use 6%, and I've been pretty close to being on target here. And then using the state's formula for how they pay excess cost to come up with what I believe we can lower our special education outplacements and tuition costs are, because that's where that money comes from. Now, each year it's been a battle, depending on where the state stands financially. One year we get 70% of the money. Some years we get 72% of the money. 2 years ago, we got 63% of the money, right? I don't know what the number is. I find out what the number is usually somewhere around April. Well, we're all done by April. So, but fortunately, through the worksheet model that I've been able to develop, we're close. So when you look at the number, it's like, wow, that's a lot of money. And it is. And it's worked out in our budgets the last 5 years. So, you do these when you try to do it this way, that it's going to keep moving forward. There have been improvements with the way the state has been has been paying off for the excess cost. But with that said, there's always a risk. It depends on where the state falls, right? And if you listen to when the state does their budget reports, this month they have got a huge surplus, and the next month, it disappeared somehow. Well, I don't know what happened, but it's not as big as they thought it was. So it's a guess. That's what that number is. Otherwise, there'd be another $734,000 in this budget. I mean, you add the two together, right? It's $1.2 million, $1.3 million that we.
Yeah, and the next line is a guess too, with anticipated certified faculty retirement savings. We don't know. Right now, we have no word on anyone retiring. So we kept it at $20,000 savings with the possibility of maybe one person retiring at this point. We've had some word and some rumors are out there about certain people, but there's nothing definite that's been brought to my attention or our administration's attention. But that's an estimate, and depending on the position, depends on the savings. If we lose a physics teacher, you're not going to have much, if any, cost savings on filling that position. If you lose an elementary education teacher, you might have a little more cost savings and it probably isn't going to be significant, because that gap has really, really closed. There's just not enough people in the field of education, and when we're not going to settle on the employees we hire, we're going to hire the right people. So a $20,000 is one person retiring, and that savings built into the budget. Some additions to the budget. So we are having some concerns dealing with the unions or with the teachers union at the primary elementary school and at Fisher, so at Plymouth Center and Fisher. Unfortunately, we don't have enough building subs in those buildings to cover us, and we're pulling teachers way too much. We're actually pulling our interventionists way too much, and so it's really hurting us. But now that the unions come to me, we have to address that concern. And so how we could address the concern in talking with both administrators in both schools is Plymouth Center, because of the pre-K and the needs there, really needs 2 additional building subs so their interventionists aren't pulled and they can cover their building 99.9% of the time. And Fisher felt 1 building sub was sufficient. Matt and I also spoke about the lunch program and supporting that just in case we go into a deficit with all the changing costs, and Kelly and I talked about the cost of food and the sale and trying to keep the price down for kids. We put in $10,000 to try to help support the lunch program if at all necessary. And then we have a chemical hygiene specialist, which is a stipend position. We're gonna have to provide some training for that position as well. But that's more of an OSHA requirement that we need to put in place in our district and have someone trained. And what that really is it's usually someone from our science department that is trained on how to go through and look at chemicals throughout our district. And a lot of people think science chemicals. Well, I'm thinking more in my head, the art rooms in the elementary, middle, and high school, and some of the paints that might be expired and so on. That's really their job, is to go through and train the people in how to discard those chemicals. But that's an OSHA requirement. So those are the pieces that I added to the budget, and they're kind of requirements. There's nothing there that we couldn't add at this point. In addition, we have 12.6 positions and people in grant-funded, under grants. And that's risky because we don't know sometimes what's going on with these grants. And these grants technically are not supposed to be used for really entire staffing. But we are doing what we can with the grants to make sure that we're maximizing the amount we can put towards staffing, because again, our best and most important asset is our teachers and the people working with our kids. So overall, here's the budget. We have a current budget of $27,955,540. And now we're looking at a recommended budget of $29,016,658, which is a 3.72% increase. Now, Rebecca, I asked for you to nicely write down a number for me. Mm-hmm. The contractual obligation increase that we have, this is just a contractual obligation, is higher than what you see here. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about the work of our administrative team, understanding how to really pare down a budget the best they can, I want you to read that number, just because that's the number we're going up. What's that number, Rebecca?
1,194,684.
So we are under that number for now. Let's talk about what's not in the budget. So this budget does not touch our staffing. It does not eliminate one staff member we have. It adds the 3 building substitute teachers per the union concerned. It adds the chemical hygiene specialist, which is a stipend. It also adds the $10,000 that we have to support the lunch program. I didn't put in the additions. But what it doesn't include is one item from the 5-year strategic plan. So we are at 3.72, or a $1 million increase in our budget. And we have not added one of our board objectives and goals from our strategic plan at this point. And these are what they are. We talked about an alternative education tutor here at the high school. We talked about a reading interventionist here at the high school to start to build our MTSS process all the way through. We talked about a certified library media specialist at Fisher. We talked about a cultural learning club stipend at Fisher in Plymouth Center, and then an American Sign Language Club stipend at the high school and the middle school. None of those pieces are built into this budget. A couple more things I want you to see. If we did build them in, those are the estimated costs. So Matt and I look at the budget right now, and we look at what a tutor costs, and that's where that $27,670 comes from. When you have the certified reading specialist, we took a master's plus 5 salary, plus 5 years in, and we did employee plus 1 benefits. That's the estimated cost of an employee that we would hire. We did the same thing with the library media specialist, but what we were able to do is we were able to subtract the tutor salary we currently have in place, so that brings that down a little bit. And then we looked at the club stipends. A club that meets a certain number of days per year in the contract would pay $1,200 per stipend in each school. So that's where you get the $2,400 in each of those areas. So if we added everything from the strategic plan, we're adding an estimated total of $209,000. And I have to be honest with you, that's not a lot of money. For us to move forward as a district, $209,000 is not a lot of money. But it does bring our estimated budget increase to 4.47 if we added all of those pieces. Double checking the math, Matt?
I was going to give you a percentage. but
So that's kind of where we are. All right, now I want to show you one more thing. This is another one of those things in this public and the community that's misunderstood. Everyone talks about how the Board of Education has 62% of the budget or 57% of the town's budget. That's not accurate and not true at all. And it came up at last year's tri-board meeting, and Matt and I were, well, Matt was on his phone trying to figure out the number. This is the facts, this is the truth. If we come in with a $20 million budget, the state, the cost sharing grant, educational cost sharing grant, will reimburse $9 million, almost $10 million. So what the Plymouth taxpayer is really funding for education is $19 million. Still a large number, but it's really not. It's really not. When we're valuing education, that number should probably be $23 million because of the number of things that we've spoken about as a board that we don't have, that we probably should have, and basic things that we talked about. And they're all in that 5-year strategic plan that we spoke about, from school counselors to social workers to library media specialists. These are basic things that our district does not have that we should have. So that's the facts. Am I right on my numbers? Here's the last big slide I have with the 3.72 increase, and it's important for you to see this. If we get 3.72 from the town, obviously, we're not eliminating a dime from our budget. We are good. That's what we are looking for to maintain. That's what we would get. And again, this is off of the recommendation budget of the administration. If we get 3.5, we got to cut $25,000, 3.25, and so on going down. You see, if we get 2.5%, we are cutting $342,000 in our budget. That's probably 5 positions, full-time certified teachers. Also, keep in mind, we have that risk that Matt talked about. There's a $500,000 risk in this budget that we've put in here. So if we didn't have a year where we could shift health insurance and possibly have that savings, if we got 2.5% from the town, you're talking about an $800,000, almost $900,000 cut that we have to make, and that would be devastating. That would be devastating. But again, we went through staffing, what's actually needed and what's not, so you see the numbers. And it's transparent for the public to see too. Those are our numbers. Then you see the budget and what's required to run our schools and what's remaining, and we're talking about $250,000. And then you see the other pieces that impact the budget and the work that the administration did to bring that number down underneath the contractual obligation amount. CAPS, the Connecticut Association of Public School Superintendents, the majority of superintendents right now, the average is coming in at 5.12% increase in their budgets, because that's what it takes right now to maintain and keep moving forward. If we added 1.4% to our budget, and we were at that number, we would add $370,000 to our budget, which would cover everything in our strategic plan and more. But that's right now, as of the 12th of January, where other towns are coming in. And this compounds. Keep this in mind. We're always lower than that. And so every year, other districts are getting $200,000, $300,000 more. We're not. And then we're asking for it, but we're just trying to catch up. So that's an important slide too. And that slide will adjust as time goes on, because more and more districts will report, and then we'll adjust that, and we'll add the as-of date will shift on that. So next steps is budget workshops. From January to February, we need to have whatever number of budget workshops the board feels is appropriate, because right now this is our administration's recommended budget to you, but you really need to adopt this budget by the end of February. I have February 11th on there. That's just our next board meeting. But technically, we have to the end of the month to make sure that the Board of Finance has the board-adopted budget in hand. And that is all I have for you. This evening, I wasn't really expecting many questions. What I will say is that the next step really is to create those budget workshops to ask the questions, to make the adjustments after you look through the binder. In these binders, you'll see a letter from me at first that goes, it's a community letter that I write with regard to the budget. You'll see the presentation in there. You'll see the actual budget breakdown that Matt has put together with each of the administrators and myself. So it's all broken down there for you. And for the public, again, this will be put all online tomorrow for you. The thing I want to recommend before we choose budget workshop dates is that before the budget workshop, if the board has questions that they want answered about the budget, that they email myself and Matt prior, so we can do that work and make sure we're coming to that meeting with answers for you. We might have to call a vendor, we might have to call our insurance person, we might have to look in the contract, like we might have to do some homework before we walk in that meeting. So the more questions we have ahead of time, the better prepared we could be to answer the questions for you. And the best example I can give you is Robin Palmer came to me and asked me for two things. She asked me for the University of Bridgeport interns, bringing them in to substitute teach in our district instead of possibly hiring building subs and whatnot, because it is less money and cost effective. And so I had Pat reach out to her contact at UB. And I have the emailed responses here from that person at the University of Bridgeport about why we don't have as many interns as we had in the past. Right now, we have one working in our district at Fisher Elementary School. The other thing that Robin asked me for was summer school numbers. She asked for summer school attendance and expenses, and I have summer school numbers here. This is not Beth's summer school. It's not for students that have specific needs for summer school, and that's required. This is optional summer school for regular ed students in our school district that is not required. And I have the breakdown of that. I have the breakdown of how it worked, the number of days it met, the per diem rate people were paid, the number of hours they were paid for, the overall expenses, the number of students that attended, and the cost per student. So I have both of those, and I'm going to hand it out to the whole board, Robin, because I figured if it's your question, it's everyone else's question. So,
But those are the kind of things that could help us out.
So,
Thank you for this, Brian.
yeah. So really, it's up to you guys on picking dates.
All right, everybody want to open their, do you want to do it now? Or do you want to do this through email? Is everybody able to talk about dates right now?
Yeah.
Open your calendars, everybody.
Before you do, can I hand out some info?
Sure. Go ahead, hand out your info.
All right, and then we can have a discussion.
Do you need me up here to go back to any slides? I mean, they're in your book, but I can go back to slides.
Thank you.
Well, we're gonna need you to look at your calendar as well so that we know if you're available as well and everybody else. So, thank you.
Professionally typed, Jerry?
Excuse me?
Professionally typed?
Yes, it was.
So let's look at the next 2 weeks. So the week of the 19th and the week of the 26th. What is limitations that anybody has for those?
I'd prefer not a Monday.
The 19th, the district's closed, the building wouldn't be
Oh,
open
that's
anyway,
true,
so-
that's true. Yeah, not the 19th.
Thank you.
So the 20th and then the 26th.
I cannot do the
21st?
20th, I have a PTA meeting.
I don't mean just that specific date, I'm just
Oh.
talking like in general, those 2 weeks. So the 20th is not good for you, is that what you're
No.
saying?
Yeah, correct.
Let me just write this down. 20th. How is the 21st looking for people? Okay, 21st is good, so not good, good. All right. How about the 22nd?
I'm good.
Okay, all right. And we're not gonna be looking at Fridays, if we can help it.
Do you want to just schedule the first one and see, because last year, just to refresh the board's memory, last year,
Oh, that's true.
we scheduled one, scheduled a number of them. And we went to one and the board sent their questions and we answered questions and made some adjustments to the overall budget. But we came to the realization that ultimately, we can do all the work we want, but in the end, and we could move that number to 4.2 or 3.2. At the end, it's really the Board of Finance and Town Council that are setting it. And so a lot of the real budget workshops start after we know our number and we pick up the pieces. So I don't know if you want to schedule one, see
Okay.
where we get, and then schedule the next and the next before we actually go to adoption when everyone's comfortable, but it's
Maybe-
really up to you.
Maybe 2 to begin with, just because we do have a lot of new people who may have a lot
Sure,
of
blame us.
questions. And I still have a lot of questions, so.
Well,
I
that's
think
why I was
just to be
saying
on the
to
safe
email
side.
them.
Yeah, but those are gonna be emailed ahead of time, so that's the good thing, is that they'll already be answered.
But it's up
So-
to you. If you want to do 2 or 3, that's fine too. I don't.
Well, let's start with one and we can
Yeah, I'm good with one.
do another one after that,
We
while
could-
we're there.
You could schedule it while we're there, yeah.
How is the 22nd for everybody? Does that look good for you? Perfect. 22nd?
January
Yep.
22nd?
January 22nd.
What time?
I can make it anytime from 5 o'clock on.
Can we do a 5:30, just so people have
How's
time
that?
after work?
How is that for everybody? 5:30?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock you want? All right, 22nd at 6 o'clock. All right, so that will be our first budget meeting, and then if we feel we need another one, we can do another one. But like Brian said, the thing to remember too is that, we don't want to put too many hours of work into this when we could just be given a number that's completely off from this as well. And we'll have to meet after that as well too, once we have our number from the town, we're gonna have to then meet again to see how we can adjust our budget to fit with what the town has. Unless they just give us what we want, and then we'll be all set.
So we're good.
Yeah.
In the
Sorry, Karen,
library?
did you say 5:30 or 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6
6
o'clock on the
Somebody couldn't make
22nd,
5:30.
in the
Library?
library, so it's a working session.
Library?
Okay.
Yep,
And then,
okay.
and then again, questions you might have. Again, you'll have questions at the meeting, and hopefully Matt, myself, and Beth could answer those questions for you, like, right there. If you want the building administration there, that is also something, if the board requests, we can, I don't know their availability, but we can see if I can get them there, if you'd like them there as well. That's really up to the board.
Yeah, maybe give us at least a couple days to digest the
Yeah,
whole
absolutely.
budget and kind of see where our questions lie, because it might be not a waste of their time, that's a bad thing to say, but like, we don't want to take them out of their personal time if they don't need to.
And maybe it's the second meeting they come to or whatnot. Okay.
All right,
Can I, all right, I just handed out a piece of paper. I worked with Matt yesterday. Okay, to give everybody an idea. I went back, I asked Matt to go back 6 years to see what our budget increases were each year. So as you see in 2020, 2021 to 2022, 2023, our budget increases were minimal. They come out to approximately a 1.23% increase. The one that concerns me the most is the 2022, 2023 with a 0.81% increase. I have no idea how we met the MBR. I have no idea.
So I think I can answer a little bit of that, is in that particular year, that is the year that they shifted special education excess cost from the town's budget, because they kept all of the money, to our budget.
Okay.
And that's ultimately what lowered this, because they said, oh no, that now is moving from here to here. And it gave us a much lower percentage increase, because they said that the money that we were supposed to get anyway is now part of our budget. So, Brian, if you remember, we had a meeting in the old conference room, which is now Pat's office, but with a pretty significant disagreement, because I kept arguing, wait, you're funding our budget with our own money. Like, but obviously I lost, so.
So then if you look at the 3 years after it, so the first 3 years that are there, that's under Mayor Merchant.
First 3 years were.
First 3 years are under Mayor
Were the
Merchant.
first mayors.
Okay.
Yes.
The next 3 years are under Mayor Kildoff, and one of them was the referendum.
Correct. I believe that was
Okay.
23, 24, where it went to referendum, and that was our first.
All right, so just keep in mind that the 6-year average was 2% increase. So in all honesty, in the 2026, 2027, we are paying catch-up from the minuscule amount of money that we got in the 3 years of Dave Merchant. Okay?
Well, the amount that we've gotten the last 3 years isn't much better.
Yes, thank
So
God.
it's not exactly like it's,
It's like, thank God.
runaway
But
train.
I will say historically, though, the work that Mayor Kildoff did in the work he helped us move forward with by giving us higher numbers than historically were given over the past 10 years prior to him. I mean, he really worked well with our administration. So I know the numbers aren't, 4.5% or whatnot, but he did everything he could to really support the schools.
Right, but we're playing catch-up for all of the
For
years.
the, yeah.
Right. And then the biggest thing is where the 6-year average is, which is a 2% increase. You can get that little slide over there. 2% increase. If we get that on an average, because it's over 6 years, if we get 2%, it's gonna be bad. It just is, and there are other things that you need to understand too, how the town budget goes, because there's parts of the budget that we are dealing with right now with the Board of Ed, but we have nothing to know what's going on with the town, okay, because it's two entities, okay, and the biggest thing that, I wouldn't say hurts the town, but there's a charter, in the chart, it states that the town budget can go up no more than 3%, the town budget, the whole budget itself. So let's say $50 million, can't go up any more than 1.5 million. If it goes up more than that, then it goes to referendum. And then it depends on the electorate of the electors in town and taxes if they want that to go up. The issue is if it fails, then it goes back down to 3%. So it doesn't matter. All right, so everybody needs to understand that in looking at what's happening now, this is all things that happened previously that some of us don't even have any control of, especially the new members, all right? Because of the fact that we're continually in this town trying to catch up from things that weren't put into budgets years and years ago. So take that in consideration too when you're going through this budget and looking through and thinking where maybe we should add some money too, but historically, doesn't usually show up when we go to Board of Finance.
Thank you, Jerry. All right, let's move on to item number 7, unfinished business. So we all have a copy of the 5-year strategic plan that we have had the opportunity to review.
Well, I apologize because it was supposed to be placed into your board packet, but without my right hand man, I might have forgotten to copy it and put it into your board packet for you to review. Basically, what I did is I after our working meeting on December 8th, I made the changes in the 5-year strategic plan. I adjusted the pre-K timeline. I moved the interventionist for reading and math up the years that were requested. I removed the health teacher and the added maid office support in the 2 elementary schools. We changed the library media specialist to only Fisher and not Eli Terry. We added and adjusted instead of the world language, which we put in the American Sign Language Club and the Cultural Club. and the school security is still kind of out there and it's in a different color. I did not make additional copies, but it is in your budget book. The 5-year strategic plan draft is in here, so my recommendation at this point is, so everyone could look at the changes, and I did cross-outs and then new language, and I highlighted it, so you can see the old language and the new and where we moved, but I don't know if we should go to approval. I think it should be tabled so
Okay.
people have time to look, because I didn't put it in the packet.
All right, I'd like to,
I'll make a motion to table the discussion concerning the adoption of the Plymouth Board of Education 5-year strategic plan to the next board.
do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. Showers? Okay, any discussion on tabling it?
I think it would be advisable to kind of see how the budget goes, so we may need to make some tweaks after we see what our options are, so it can be pretty
Good point.
solid.
Any other discussion?
Well, it's a living document, right?
Yeah,
So
it can be
even if we
changed.
approve it, we can
Oh,
continue to make
absolutely,
changes to it.
yes. We almost certainly will have to. Yeah. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Showers? Jerry and then Greg. Jerry and Greg, yeah. Any abstentions? I'm sorry, did I do opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right. And then we have a second read of the Board of Education policies and possible approval. So I'm going to go ahead and do these motions. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the modified policies in Series 1000 as listed in your package.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Burbanier, Ms. Palmer. Any discussion? Okay, and if none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, that one, motion carries. Next one. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the modified policies in Series 3000 as listed in your packet.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Showers, Ms. Tilton, any discussion on that one?
I do have one question. And I wrote a note to myself, now I have to remember what this note meant. But if the funds need to be used outside of what is budgeted, do we also have to notify the union?
Matt, it's for the non-lapsing account, for the policy.
So we are required to notify the bargaining units anytime that we use the money from the 2% non-lapsing account. That's a new requirement from the state in the last 12 months. But it's only a notification.
Okay.
They don't get to vote on it. My understanding for the reason that's in there is because there are districts that have a significant amount of money in there, and it's not being, the bargaining units feel that that's opportunity for them to have increases to their contract,
Right.
Okay.
and the districts are hoarding it. That's not the case here. We don't have that much money,
Not the
so
case here.
That's not our burden.
it's not our problem.
I wish. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the modified policies in Series 4000 as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Palmer first and Ms. Tilton second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the modified policies in Series 5000 as listed.
So moved.
Mr. Showers,
Second.
Mr. Bobernaire, any discussion on these?
I actually have a question on that one.
Mhm.
On the 5,025, so it says that as long as they're claimed by their parents, the parents don't need permission to get their information. What if their parents are divorced
Only one claims them.
and only one claims them? What if they don't want the other one to have
So
their
we
information?
go by court records then. So we would have something from the court that says that, you have custody of your child, you have the right to the records, the other parent might not. Unless we have something from the court, both parents have that right to that
Even if they're
information.
18.
Even if they're 18. So it's, as a high school principal, I dealt with this where we were going on a field trip and the kid signs their own permission slip because they're 18. Not so much. You live with your parents, they still declare, like, you're still theirs. And so in schools, it's a little different with the
Okay.
18. So they're just clarifying that with FERPA.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I would like to entertain a motion to approve the modified policies in Series 6000 as listed.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Palmer and Ms. Tilton. Let me just write that down. Okay, any discussion on these? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And then finally for this one, entertain a motion to approve the new policy in Series 6000 as listed.
So moved.
Mr. Showers?
Second.
Ms. Tilton? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, item 8, Business Manager's Report and Personnel Report. Mr. Penza.
Thank you. So this year's budget, we're cruising right along. I repeat myself kind of month after month after month, which should be good news to everybody. So budget remains open as we have discussed. As we get farther into the year, then we'll have that point where I just kind of close it down except for absolutely necessary purchases, just so we finish out the year strong. But right now, everything's going on really as expected. Food services, last time I spoke to you about the audit coming up. I have to tell you that the food services group did an amazing job in preparation for that. And we did really well. Not perfect, but I didn't expect to be. The state's coming in, but we don't have any significant findings that they talked to us about at the end. We do have a meeting scheduled for the 22nd with the audit team, and they will give us a preliminary report of everything that we need to do corrective action on. There are a few things, like I can tell you right out of the gate, for the ad hoc policy committee, we're gonna have to meet because we have to amend our current policy to add some new federal language. It wasn't in the current policy, now that it's required. We have to put our wellness committee back together and take care of those things. But as far as how we feed our children, how we charge our children, and all of that, it came out really well. So I'm proud of the staff and their preparation for that. They did a really great job. As far as financial performance, as you saw in my report, is nominal money we made for the month of December. Not necessarily unexpected with the holidays, but as we continue to go out with the increased costs that just keep coming in, it makes me nervous. I don't have a reason to be nervous other than that's who I am, right? So, as I keep working with Jess and her staff to talk about how can we make sure that we stay above the line. And there's really only two ways. We control the food cost, what we're using to make the food, or we figure out ways to increase our participation. Those are the only really two ways that so that's what we're working on. Trying to avoid coming back to the board to say, we're gonna have to increase our prices. I don't wanna have to do that, and we've avoided that. We did a significant one last year or the year before, I think it was the year before, and we're trying to avoid having to do it. But your own shopping bags, right? I came home the other day with one bag, it was like $72. I got one bag, there's nothing. So.
Costs are increasing.
I mentioned that we have gone and we're using Arbiter to pay our athletic officials. It is a very common software and company that we're using that statewide are using it. There's a lot of advantages to it. Number one, the officials get paid much quicker, right? There's no paperwork. they're assigned, and the athletic directors at the end of a week go in and say, yes, this game was held, these are the officials that were here, they go click, 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 they're paid. We no longer have to do all of the 1099 work, collecting social security numbers, we don't have to do any of that anymore. So, a big advantage to that, the officials like it, the AD likes it because they're not tracking down, oh, I didn't sign off on this piece of paperwork, and then it has to go to the principal, then it has to come to the business office, and then finally we cut a check. It's all very instantaneous. What we do here is we fund for athletic officials out of our budget, and then it just works. So I just want to make you aware of that. And so far, we started it January 1st, and it's been really nice and clean. And then the last thing is there is a shift from the town to us for some financial responsibilities. I had agreed to this with the previous mayor's administration, and it revolves around educational grants, the educational grant fund, and the food service fund, both of which are housed here. We do all of the work, like we record all of the expenses, we take care of all of the requests, we do all the grant writing, it all resides here. Same thing with food service. And then at the end of the year, I take all that information, I pile it up into spreadsheets and so forth, I send it down to the town, and then they have to do journal entries to do reporting for the audit. And some things have gotten lost in translation, and as you know from the audit reports, there's some communications that didn't happen back and forth. So the town felt it was best if you're doing all the work and the source is all here, why not just do the entries? It's really no additional work for me, so I just agreed. It's like, yeah, that's not a problem. The agreement was the town would pay up to $10,000 for the Clifton Larson Allen to come in as our consultant to make sure our balance sheets and our accounting was set up 100% properly for the audit reports. And that work will start at the end of this month or the early next month, so that I will be redoing the reporting at the end of the year. But I want you to make you aware of it. I don't anticipate it to be any additional work than what I'm already doing, other than now we'll do the journal entries here instead of sending the information to the town and them doing them. So, other than that, I'm all yours for questions.
Are we going to get
Go ahead.
Are we going to get a full report on the food service audit after you have that meeting?
I will share the audit with you, yes.
How often do we get that audit?
It's now every 5 years.
Every 5 years.
The last audit we've had that was done here was 2017, though COVID pushed everything back.
Yeah.
And then they extended it out to every 5 years.
Capital improvements, have we heard anything from them yet? Is going back, I know they've added some people to the committee. I think they may have a full committee now, I'm not sure.
I haven't heard from them, and to be fair, I also haven't reached out to them.
No, I know, we've been busy
Because
here,
I
that's why.
sort of anticipated that they would post, like normally you would post the meeting and say, here's when the meeting, we want you to come in and talk.
They have been meeting,
So we do
But I
have
don't
to
know
get back
with
in
who.
front of them.
not with us though, okay. All right.
Sorry, Matt, on that policy you said that needs to be adjusted, is this like an ASAP, we should schedule that as soon as possible? Like when do we need to take
They're
that
gonna
corrective
give us
action?
90 days
Okay.
for corrective action. So as I explained to the woman who was here, her name is Fanula, I said, listen, you understand that a change to policy is there's a first reading, there's a second reading, and there's adoption. So you need to let me know what we need to do so that we can get the policy, we can get it into first. And she said, no, I understand that. As long as I know that you're in process, you'll be okay. So I'd like to have it in place before the start of the next school year, because we're already working on it. And I don't think it impacts what we're doing, it's just language.
Okay.
So,
My question
Sure.
to you, Matt, is with food service, do we do anything with the local farms around here?
we do. We are part of local sourcing. In fact, in the fall, we've had a couple of farms come in and do presentations, both here at Eli and here at the high school, just Eli. where we had the local farmers come in with what they were growing on their farms. And then we used that product in the recipes for that particular day. Kids got to vote on it, they did stickers. It was very well received. And we also have received some state money to offset some of the cost to buy locally, because typically it's more than if you're just buying through a distributor. So,
Okay.
we do.
All right, so as long, I just, was just wondering if we were at least working with some of the local farms. At least give them, even, some of the farms might not be in town, but if they're locally, at least we're shopping locally.
Food cost is big, we're always shopping.
Well, I get it.
I have a few questions, Matt.
Sure.
For the, on your negative balance
Mhm.
explanations, the $5,000 that involves a grant, when is that grant up and when will we have to absorb that into the budget?
So that is a Title II grant, which is ongoing as long as the federal government keeps the Title II monies coming in. But we actually work, Beth, myself, and Brian work on whether we need to do that on a year-by-year basis based on what the budget is, right? That was actually a reduction in this year's budget from the previous year, is how do we get to a number? So, and the whole reason it hasn't been cleared yet is we just got approval for Title II
Okay.
just recently, so.
Would you be able to provide us with a list of like the grants, when they're up, what they're covering? Is it a recurring grant? Is it something that we're gonna have to look in the future to absorb into the budget? Like summer school, we lost summer school because it was a grant that we received.
That was COVID funds.
Well, yeah, COVID funds. Is there a way that we would be able to get a report so we could see that going forward for budget purposes for future years?
Sure.
And again, the HCS, the balance is about $6,000 that they owe us.
Mhm.
When will, I know that you cleaned it up last time I asked.
Yep.
Which, thank you for. Is this like in every couple of months?
Yeah, it's
is
gonna be, it
the
will be every
process?
couple of months. I met with HES, today's Wednesday, right? This morning, and we discussed those numbers, and what I just have to provide to them
Okay.
is a list of who these vendors are as we continue to try to transition them over. And what these things are, Robin, are, they're kind of they're once a year events
Right.
where somebody comes in and does an inspection, right? And they're not part of the HES vendor list yet, so we pay them because we don't want them to wait, and then they'll give us a credit on the invoice side.
Yeah, I understand.
So it'll be a couple, you'll see this sporadically
Right.
through, as we go through. You should see the amounts shrink, though, as we continue to move things over.
On the first page of the school budget report, third line up from the bottom, it's maintenance supplies. $309.27 was moved in to maintenance supplies, but that isn't covered through HCS. Are we now purchasing maintenance supplies that we're not getting reimbursed by them?
So, whether or not that's my report. First page.
Third one up, maintenance supplies.
Maintenance supplies, I moved 309 in, and now that's been zeroed out. So the maintenance supplies, that means that HES reimbursed us for the supplies we did
Okay, so
purchase.
okay,
And now that budget line is zero.
okay. And then about halfway down the page, elementary extracurricular, there's $4,000 in and there's still $4,000 there.
So
Is that the clubs?
$4,000 extracurricular, that is for the clubs and so forth. And I don't know the answer to this because at the building level, I don't know what clubs are running and which ones aren't. Okay, so I know that when Mrs. Loveland left, I don't know which clubs were still running or if they even got off the ground. But I know that as we head into the spring, there will be clubs running. And that's the amount that by contract is allocated to each school. If at the end of the year, there's still a balance in there, that will be used to offset deficits in some other area. But we do encourage the principals to run as many clubs as they can as extras for the kids.
Brian, question for you. Do the clubs, do they get paid as the club, or do the teachers who run the clubs or whoever runs the clubs, do they get paid as they go? Or is that in the contract where they get paid at the end of the school year?
They get paid 2 times a year depending on the club.
Okay.
So if it's one of the longer ones that meets more often, they'll get paid mid-year and then end of the year. If it's, in the administrators in the buildings kind of tell us, this is the first half of the year club, it's meeting 4 times, and then in the contract, it's all broken out how they get paid, and they would get paid once because it's the first half of the year.
And we just paid the first stipends, they either got it in the December 24th payment or just now January 1st.
According to this, I believe it's the
Yeah.
January, because nothing
So-
has been come out of them, and that was one of my questions. There are emergency repairs, what school is this for? Fisher, for 4,000. What were the 4,000 emergency repairs for Fisher? I don't remember hearing about.
Sinks, bathrooms, stairs, maybe.
It may be the stairs that we repaired outside where we did the concrete.
Was that Fisher or was that Plymouth?
That's at Fish, it's both.
stairs
We
at
finished
both.
stairs at Fisher, and then we also replaced things at Plymouth
I'll have
Center.
to get back to you on that one.
But I'll have to get back to you on the detail of it.
I do have a question, if we could possibly, I see that there's adjustments being made. I sat down on Sunday and went through this for about 3 hours. It's hard to see where the adjustments are taken from to cover, because it might take a lot of money out of one account and split it up into others. Can we get a breakdown of where you're taking money from to cover what accounts?
Sure.
And then,
Could I ask why, though?
I'm just,
I'm curious, because you have to understand, Matt will say yes. The time that takes, it's a lot. There's 3 of us in central office covering, I'm the director of curriculum, HR. Matt helps out with HR. He's the business manager. He's taking on something from the town. That's special ed director, assistant superintendent, doing teacher evaluations. This stuff, if it's necessary, 100%. You wanted to break down a summer school, 100%. But if it's work and there's a purpose to it, fine. I need to know the purpose, I think, before we direct Matt to do that type of work.
my idea behind it is for budget reasons. Like, when I'm going to look at the budget, I wanna, if we're over allotting a certain amount for one account, maybe that's something that we can pull money from to cover one of the things that we're not covering.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
On page 5, there's alternative discipline program mentor. Is that ISS?
No, that's detention, after school.
Detention, okay. And then OSHA compliance, there's $1,000 pretty much at every school. Is that to, what is that? Is that when we're out of compliance with OSHA? Is that to
No, typically at the end of each year, we have to provide a report or something to OSHA, and that's basically the cost of having somebody come in, check things for us, and then
Okay.
we can do that. It's to make sure that we're compliant. And on any given time, we don't know who they're gonna ask for, so we
Right.
build it into each budget.
No, I just wasn't sure if that was to like bring stuff up to compliance or.
Hopefully I never have to do that.
And I think that's all of my questions for right now.
I have just a quick question on what Robin was asking for with taking money out of one account into the next to pay for something. You guys probably shift money around quite often. Instead of doing that on a monthly basis and letting us know where you're moving money, especially if we're talking about just for, we have this account budgeted, this account has this much money in it, and they don't need that much, wouldn't that be an end of the year type evaluation? Because if you're shifting money from one account to the next, constantly moving things around to pay the bills,
It's like a.
But
long
keeping track
fast.
of that is kind of like watching a card game play out.
Well, and the hard part is when we're creating a budget now for next year. And so Matt, when he sits down and he looks at the electricity bill for the month of November or the oil bill or whatever it might be, temperatures change, could be totally different. We might not spend as much one year as the next. But I mean, these are Matt trying to go, okay, let's look at the historical increases that we've had, what we actually spend. And the one thing that, when we talk about budget, when we both started working together, we broke down the budget in a way that it's probably never been broken down before with regard to every employee, what their insurance is, to exactly what their insurance is, every bill, what the historical payment is. And that is how we have Kyle, who's sitting here, who does technology in the middle school. That's how Kyle's here. We got his salary by really streamlining this budget and going through everything. And the concern I hear or think I hear, and I could be wrong, is that, we're working through this the best we can. There's a lot of questions that I respect the questions of any individual on the board. I just want to make sure that they're coming across as, I just feel like, is there better things we can do with the money? And I'm assuring you that Matt is the business manager and myself is the superintendent and Beth is the assistant superintendent. We comb through this 2 or 3 times a week to look at where we could save, where we could adjust. So I just don't want to waste Matt's time or my time or Beth's time because we do not have the time. We do not have the time, and Matt doesn't have an assistant. We have someone in charge of food service, someone in charge of transportation. She's sitting right there. We have someone in charge of payroll. We have someone in charge of accounts payable. Matt does this work himself. So there's other things such as the grants or whatnot. We talked about a grant today that gets pushed aside. I just want to make sure what we're asking for from myself, Matt, or Beth are necessary things moving forward because we don't have the time. We just don't have the time. We don't have the staffing. We've been stripped down. There's no one in charge of HR except for me. There's no one in charge of curriculum. Beth and I do the curriculum work with our principals. The number of staff evaluations that we all have is outrageous. We cannot cut another administrator because we are at absolute, there's nothing else. And so I just want to make sure whatever we're asking Matt, myself, or Beth for, or whatever questions are coming up are questions that are necessary to be asked in a public forum in this setting that we could really actually answer at that time and to provide reports or documents that are unnecessary. We just don't have the time for it. We're trying to run a district.
So, and Brian, I agree with what you're saying, but to answer your question is when I came here originally 5 years ago, is I didn't do the transfers until the very end of the year. But we would spend almost an hour going through every line that was negative in that budget report, which comes through and comes through and comes through and comes through. So my solution to that was working with the board was I am going to make the transfers that I know are okay to make and even things off based on a change. For example, someone leaves the district at X number of dollars and the new person comes in at X plus because that's who we hired. Well, where do I have funding that I can offset that increase? Well, special education, we hired somebody at a lower rate, so I moved salary from here to here, so we're offsetting it. If you don't want me to do the transfers, that's fine. Understand that at the end of the year, I will spend easily a week.
Oh, no.
That's the only thing that I'll do.
I think she's saying that
So-
at the end, like, just do what you gotta do, and then
Like
at the end of the year, be like, here you
End of the
go.
year, you would see if there was an account that didn't need
Oh,
as much funding.
So when we do the budget,
You've already
I
taken
use
that into
actuals.
consideration.
Okay.
I use the actual expenditures, not the previous year's budget. I use the actuals. I look at the actual expenditures from the previous year, where did we budget it this year? How am I trending? And then that creates this next thing.
It's a zero-based
Yeah,
budget.
we zero out from the beginning and then I go back and look, okay, so what did it grow this year over this year? 2 years ago to this year, okay, it grew at 8%. Where am I trending? I'm trending lower. Okay, so maybe we can shave a little bit here. So I misunderstood what you were asking me. I apologize.
So I think the superintendent makes a good point. I don't think that we need to put any extra work on our administrators for something that we can see at the end of the year, or they can, be trusted to handle within their report. Does anybody else have any other questions?
You're off the hook for me. I got to see Brian this week, so I asked all my questions already.
Lucky
I was
you.
like, let me try to save Matt some questions. So actually, I was pleased to see the one with the food, because that was a concern for me with the new nutrition guidelines, and the cost of, like proteins and vegetables is like,
Yeah, it's
so.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, good and healthy for our children, but not so good and healthy for our budget. So that was
Right.
a huge thing, but Brian already's like, oh, I already put it in, so. Thank you.
All right, so our accounts by facility report will be forwarded to the Town of Plymouth Board of Finance. And Mr. Falcone, do you have anything to add about our personnel report? It's pretty straightforward.
No,
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Okay, next up is item number 9, public comment. So I will invite our public to come up again.
Melanie Church, 328 Main Street. Number one, it's just a very simple thing that now the town is doing, and it might be something good for the Board of Ed to do. Every line item that you have, they have every line item they have. And where the money is at that point. If they spend it in 1 month, it's right there, so you can see where it was taken from. And they're in the middle of bringing it out permanently every month. And that might be the simplest way, where it shows there's nothing being hidden, no secret, it's been taken out of this account for this. It's all right there, and at the end, you know what your balance is, so if an account has to be frozen, you're able to freeze that account because you're spending too much. And that might be the best thing to be done here. I think it's gonna be very successful, plus it shows you that you don't have to ask, because it'll say it was for this or that. And that way there, he doesn't have to go back through and figure out what it is exactly you want. And it's all done right in a thing, and it's passed out every month.
30 seconds.
Okay, and one other thing is, I suggest that you also look at every expenditure. And I suggest also that each of you go to that, they're meeting Thursday night at 5:30. The Capitals. Ask what they're doing for you.
Time.
Thank you, Melanie. Any other public comment? Anything online?
Nothing.
Nothing, okay. All right, we are up to committee reports. Finance and Operations, Mr. Bourbonnier.
Okay, we met last Wednesday, which was January 7th. Went through a number of things. One of the things that we went through was the playground at Plymouth Center, which is still in the early stages of what we're gonna do to change that playscape at Plymouth Center to be age appropriate and ADA accessible. Matt did get a quote on $97,000, which in all honesty is, from my own personal point of view, being on Plymouth Park and Rec for many, many years, that's probably a ballpark with any type of playground facility going in anywhere, whether it's Park and Rec or whether it's a school. The issue is that it might be the Cadillac type of playground that was offered. If you go a little bit less, well, you get less equipment. That's usually what ends up happening. One of the other things that we discussed was ECS grant money, and a printout was handed to each member to understand how ECS grant money is actually allocated. If you read through the whole exact thing, at the bottom, it doesn't say anything about a COLA raise, because inflation is up at 2.5%, or inflation is up at 5%. So there's nothing in there that shows anybody in any town who gets ECS grant money that the reason why you're flat funded is because that's the way it's allocated through their system of percentages of money allocated because of students and other things, and this is what you get. So it doesn't necessarily matter. And one of the things that we talked about too was that our meetings will be on the second Monday prior to the Board of Ed meeting at 6 p.m. in the library.
Prior to the Board of Ed meeting.
On Monday.
Oh, the Monday before
Monday.
I gotcha. Sorry, I wasn't following. I am.
There's a comma in
I'm
there.
on board. I'm on board.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have Curriculum and Instruction Committee. Ms. Tilton.
I just want to start off by absolutely commending the instructional coaches who came in. I asked for a lot of data and information. I think for me, it was very informative, and it was great to see some really perfect alignment with what they're doing to our strategic planning and how we can partner with them. And as we have budget discussions, there are certainly some things that I think we should highlight that they share that they're doing that we need to make sure we don't touch those things to have a negative impact on our students. But just very impressed with the knowledge that they have and with everything they're doing to really view some gaps in learning that have come about as a result of COVID, and they are just going above and beyond to try to address all of these concerns. Of course, they could always use some help from us. The interventionist was at different levels, was on our, strategic plan, and, I know budget season is hard for me as an educator, knowing how valuable some of these things are, and having to pick and choose the priorities. So I'm hoping just to bring some of that information when we meet, so we can share from the people who are boots on the ground what's really important and effective for them, so we don't touch any essential things that will have a really negative impact, but just amazing work, and cannot say enough about how committed and dedicated our staff are to student outcomes and learning. So
We're lucky to have them.
oh, so lucky. Yeah, it was really great. And they did it with very little notice, so
Yeah.
thank you again for those who did that.
All right, our Communications Committee.
So we are looking to bring in the Boys and Girls Club as a possibility for a before and after school program. This would be for elementary age students as well as potentially middle school and even into high school, offering club options for them. So what we would like to do, and the recommendation based off of all of the great things that the Boys and Girls Club can bring to our community and to our children, we would like to have them come in at next month's meeting in February and do a presentation to the full board as well as to the public. And then once that presentation is done, we would also like to hold an open forum meeting with the public and the Boys and Girls Club
A different night, though.
on a different night. Yes, this would be on a different night. And they can go through their presentation again for anybody who's not able to make the normal Board of Ed meeting, and be able to ask questions and give some of their opinions and insights into what their thoughts are.
Excellent, thank you. All right, we are on to item 11, Board Liaison Reports. Plymouth Center School, Ms. Palmer.
Yes, I attended my first PTA meeting last night. They ended their Snowflake fundraiser that happened in December and had an amazing turnout. They're about ready to kick off their Spiritware fundraiser. They're gonna be sending home order forms, and there's gonna be online ordering as well. And they're changing up some of the logos and options they have this year. They, for box tops for fundraiser, they've, are on track to surpass their goal, which is great. And there was a lot of talk of upcoming, plans that they have for some, cross-district events and some other things that are gonna be, quite exciting.
Great, glad to hear it. Harry S. Fisher School, Ms. Allen.
So we held our holiday shop, which went great. The kids absolutely love shopping for family and friends, so that was a big hit. We also held a bingo night. Santa made an appearance. That was not a fundraiser, but it was just a nice night out for the family. We are getting ready to kick off our Spiritware as well, so that will be going out shortly. Let's see. We have assemblies coming up, and we are looking again at some cross-district fundraisers and family nights. So stay tuned.
Excellent, very good. Eli, Terry, Kelly, and Nicole.
Nicole's gonna take it over
Nice,
tonight.
beautiful.
We had the holiday shop as well. That was good. We have school store on the 28th, which is really always fun because it's a bunch of useless stuff that the kids terrorize the school all day with. Our next PTA meeting is on the 29th. We are doing a trivia night, and we're also doing the same night a babysitting at Eli Terry. So the 8th graders, to support their 8th grade dance, will be providing the babysitting under the supervision of our lovely Miss Alicia from the Learning Center. And she will be running that while trivia night is going on at the American Legion. And then in March, we are hoping to do a wrestling fundraiser. And Brian is very excited about that with Becca. And we're gonna hope to have some
We
of
are not
our-
wrestling.
No, but
Just
some
to make it clear.
I'm really hoping
Sounded
that
a little
some
weird.
of our administrators are. I'm hoping for that. So that's about it.
Thank you very much. Terryville High School, Mr. Foote.
No meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, continue to support Terryville High School's after grad party fundraisers. It's very, very important that they are able to provide a safe place for our graduates to go to have a good time after the graduation. Sorry, I always get that little dig in, yeah. Okay, great. We'll hear from you then. Ed Advance is currently vacant. If anybody would like to take it on, you may certainly do so. We will all just keep considering that. Item number 12, board comments. Let's go ahead and start with Mr. Showers.
Here we are, another tough budget season.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get a little more from the town than what we're requesting. That would be nice for a change. Because, well, I'll talk to you later about security. It wasn't in there.
It's in the, you're right, it's in the strategic plan, and it's highlighted in blue because we never decided what to do with that, so I didn't know to put it in or not. But that's a whole nother approximately $100,000.
Yeah.
And I have a plan for that, but
Okay, well, we can talk.
All right, Mr. Tilton.
You got the floor.
Oh, okay. I just want to thank, I got to walk through the schools yesterday, and it was really amazing to see everything come full circle. When they were mentioning the career capstone, I got to see that. And one of the best things I think for me was the variety of careers that they chose. It wasn't everybody goes to four-year colleges. There were trades, medical, a whole range. And the students really emphasized the importance of getting out to those job sites, of having those people in different professions come in, and how that changed their perspectives and opened up their minds. I want to thank everybody who let me interrupt their planning time and lunchtime and pop into their classroom, and Brian for walking me through again, I cannot say enough about how fortunate we are to have the people that we have here working with our students. They put their all in every day to make sure that our kids start and leave ready to enter the world as grown adults, hopefully. So I just want to thank everybody for that super hard work. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Foot?
I agree with Kelly, the last week's meetings, the two special meetings we had were very informative.
Thank you. Mrs. Allen?
I would like to thank Matt for taking time to go through all of his monthly documents that he sends us in excruciating detail with and answer all of my questions. So that way I can go into the budget season having a little bit more knowledge than I did before. So thank you for your time.
You're very welcome anytime.
Thank you. Nicole?
Yes, Matt, thank you for tolerating the
You're
both of
very
us
welcome.
for a solid 2 hours on your middle of your day. Yeah, that's really it.
Okay, great. Mrs. Palmer?
I do want to thank the staff that did come in for the curriculum meeting. I sat in on that and was very impressed with what they had to say. They did an excellent job. And I do want to thank Matt, Brian, and Beth for everything that they do. I know some of the questions I ask are tedious, but I'm trying to do the best that I can going into budget season, knowing as much as I possibly can, so I feel comfortable making the decisions for the people of the town that elected us in these positions. So, but thank you.
Okay, Mr. Perugino?
Can't wait till the 22nd to dig into the budget.
Oh, sounds fun. That's it?
That's it.
Okay, Mr. Bourbonnier?
All right, just everybody has to remember that 99% of that budget, we have no control over.
That's right.
99% of that budget, we have no control over. It's either contractual or it's things that, unless we're the CEO of Eversource or we're the CEO of ExxonMobil and we can get beautiful diesel prices, evidently, none of us are, so we have to understand that 1% of that budget is what we control. All right, the individuals here that have kids in the school system, especially if you're in PTA, you need to start talking to people. Seriously, you need to start talking to people, okay? If you look at the handout that I gave you, okay, those numbers are pretty bad, all right? When you're getting less than 3% every year, and you see other school districts around us that are getting 4 or 5%, and they're just barely hanging on at 4 or 5%, okay? Just imagine what's gonna happen, all right? We have no more fat to cut in this budget, none whatsoever. We cut a lot of the fat last year. And obligations, if somebody tells you, well, you should get rid of another administrator, unfortunately, the state won't allow it. I mean, we could, you'd have to go up against the state. So understand those parameters of what we may have to cut and what we may not have to cut. So I would implore everybody who's on this board, whether you have kids in the school system or not, some of us have grandkids that live in this town, all right, to start talking to people. And, oh, by the way, make sure they come to the budget presentation when the Board of Ed presents that budget to the Board of Finance. And once they do that, make sure they come to the tri-board to let the elected officials know, the mayor, the town council, how they feel about whether we get more money or if we get less money and how they feel about it. That's where you really need to do it, because I can tell you, in all the years that I've been there, you could probably count people in those meetings on one hand. On one hand, all right? So, and I don't want to hear, well, our taxes are going up. Every year our taxes go up. No matter where you live in the United States, your taxes are going up, all right? It's just a matter of how much money you will, I call it an investment in your community. If you want to put money into your community, you want to invest it, that's the reason why your taxes go up. If you don't want to put money into your community, your taxes are still going to go up and you have no complaints because you don't want to invest in your community. That's it. I'm getting off my soapbox. Thank you.
Okay, need some help down? All right. So at this time, all of the subcommittees have met, and I really want to thank everybody for the very hard work that you're putting in. I know it's a lot, and I know, there's a lot of questions, and I know that there's a lot of, information that we're getting. So I do appreciate the work that the subcommittees are doing. I would also like to thank the student reps and public comment, even though there was only one instance of public comment today. But I do really appreciate anything that anybody has to bring to us so that we can be aware from different aspects. Like in different perspectives. We don't really have any way of knowing how the students are feeling if the student reps don't come and tell us. We don't really have any way of knowing how the public is feeling unless the public comes to us and gives us ideas or suggestions or even complaints, any of those things. So I do appreciate all of the input that we get. And then I would just like to implore you, please take a look at this budget very closely. We have just over a week until our budget workshop. If you have questions, please do not save them for that night. Please send an email to Beth, Matt, Brian. Ask them the questions that you can ask them. Of course, if questions come up that night because, there's been something talked about, that is of course fine. But we shouldn't have, 15 questions from every board member that night, because that's just gonna make our meeting less productive. So questions you have, front load them, put them up there. So it gives them a chance to research, it gives them a chance to get those answers to us. And if you guys don't have time to finish all of them, you can answer them at that night too. So I don't wanna put more work on you guys either, but anything that we can get to them, and when they have time to answer it, it will be helpful. That being said, our next board meeting, regular meeting of the Plymouth Board of Education will be on February 11th, 2026 at 6 p.m. here in the cafeteria at Terryville High School. And I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn at 7:52 p.m. Mr. Showers, Mr. Bourbonier, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone.